Do you remember that time that you are so excited and you shared something about money or maybe your investment or maybe let's say your next move in terms of investment? And after sharing, you realized, wow, you actually messed yourself up and you said, next time I'll never share anything. And guess what? Today's on this video, I'm going to share with you 7 money secrets that you ought to never share with anybody. All right, let's get into the business. But before I do that, by the way, do you know that I usually post a video each and every time? And by the way, all my videos, I don't charge you anything to watch them. It's for free. The only thing I want from you, just as a favor of return, just to say, hey, thank you, Joseph, just subscribe to this channel. Down below there is like a small button, literally black in color. Hit that magical button and like this video. Doesn't cost you anything, all right? And by the way, once you subscribe, you get to be notified every time I usually get to upload a new video here either. Okay, and by the way, if you'd like to get my number, people always ask me, where's your number, Joseph? It's always on the description of this specific video. Let's get into the business. Okay, now here are 7 things, or actually consider them as 7 money secrets that you ought to never share with anybody. All right, let's get into the business. Number 1, I know you know it, the first one. Obviously, yeah, exactly. That one. The first one is always never share how much you make. Never share how much you make, or your income, should I call it, right? Never share with anybody how much you usually make. You know why? These people usually have this tendency of, associating you with that much that you make. And by the way, sometimes this can be detrimental sharing it with your family members. For example, let's say you guys, you don't come from a well-established background in terms of your family, the family that you left, that is, and then maybe you got some good amount of money. By the way, if you come from Kenya, when you're earning over 100,000 Kenyan shillings, we consider you a wealthy individual. By the way, that's like $1,000. Okay, now if you're making that amount of money and back home, anyway, they have never even accessed that amount of money, and they told them happily, like, hey, you know what, guys, I shall get this amount of money at the end of the month and blah blah blah. Guess what? Each and every time you're getting your salary, if you get paid at the end of the month, they are always there. They know, hey, guess what? Let's just assume, this guy might be paying a house rent worth like an X amount of money, the food an X amount of money. Maybe let's say he saved this an X amount of money. Then where is this extra? Then that's what we're gonna go for. Hey, every time end month, hey, you know what? There is no this. You ought to do this. Hey, your brother's school fees or your brother's shoes and all those kind of things. Sometimes can be even be bad sharing this amount of income to your partners. But there are some partners who are amazing and great and good. If you realize, hey, my partner is not really so good when it comes to financial management and something, first of all, take them through the financial system so that they can acquire the literacy, and then from there you can be sharing in terms of the income. But if it is possible, then something to do with income, especially if you come from Africa, we ought to keep this thing secret, okay? Because there's a reality. Because the moment you share how much you make, by the way, sometimes even achieving your goals becomes a little bit hard because you have a lot of people behind your neck and everything. Perhaps, let's say maybe you even make like $500,000 bob in a month, and then you just live in quite an average place. People will be like, okay, this guy makes a lot of money. You ought to be living in quite a posh area, suburbs, leafy suburbs, and what have you. And these guys do not understand. You're trying to live way below your means so that you can be able to invest the rest. There are a lot of repercussions actually attached with you sharing the amount of money that you're making in terms of income. Keep this one a secret. I've been called by a lot of guys who are working, especially in Gulf. A lot of beautiful ladies of ours, they're calling me and telling me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I cannot even save a dime. Like everyone back at home, they're relying on me. And I ask them, the always question that I usually ask them, before you go to the place that you are right now, what were they doing? Hey, they were hustling, they were doing some things here and there, but today it's like they switched off from everything. Everything that I'm making is like I'm sharing back at home. Like there was a certain lady who shared with me and told me, hey, you know what, Joseph, I only have one kid back at home, and the only person who is taking care of my kid is my sister, but I usually send like over 20,000 in a month. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's quite high. And by the way, see, the problem you made is that you did tell them from the word go you can actually send that amount of money. If you didn't disclose how much you're making, then you could be actually maybe sending like half of that amount of money. That's a reality. Anyway, let's get to the next point. Now, the next thing that you're supposed not to never share is considered as a second money secret is to where you want to invest next. Where you want to, your next investment. Okay, you should not share your next investment. Guess why? Because if you go out there and sharing with people, hey, guess what, guys? I want to start like hey, I want to start dairy farming, and I want to start farming. Hey, guess what? I want to start a chemist business. Hey, I want to start I want to start a car wash. I want to start. So the moment you keep on sharing with people whatever you want to start, in between you're gonna meet some guys who either started the business and failed, then they get out of the business with bad experience. They say, hey, guess what? If there is worst business you can ever do in this life is to start a car wash. Guess what? I got screwed. Hey, I want to start an Uber business, and people say, say, guess what? Hey, hang on a second. I'm telling you, Uber business is the worst business you can ever start out there. Okay, see, if you get those kind of guys, you get discouraged along the way and you can actually never do anything at the end of the day. So the point is this: be selective on whom you share actually this you may not be, you may not really totally not share with anybody, but at least if you're talking to a financial advisor who is a neutral individual, hey, like me, all right, and I said where you can get my number, by the way. I offer these services, so you can actually get a point of view from someone who does not have any interest attached to your money. So once you get that kind of an individual, then share. Or sometimes I usually say, hey, before you even share, listen first, ask, and then you can be direct. And then from there, whenever you realize that something that you really want has been touched, then you can leverage on that and get more information on that. Or maybe you can bring on board somebody who is operating this business, but obviously not from a point where you want to establish yours. And also don't approach them on the basis of, hey, you want to start yours. No. People are jealousy if you do not know one thing, okay? So you're supposed to be very, very careful on whom you share about these things. By the way, if you come from Africa, again, you can relate to this. Have you ever tried to go back at home in your up country and you want to do something different from the way your parents or your grandparents used to do? And maybe let's say you want to do some, let's say just a simple farming in a very, quite an effective way. And then they tell you, hey, whoa, we tried those things over 40 years. By the way, has your dad ever told you he tried that? No. Oh, by the way, has your uncles ever tried that? That can't work. Those guys just want to, if they realize they're best in life, and by the way, they do this consciously or unconsciously. They just want everybody to just remain as them and all those kind of things, okay? So this information, retain to yourself as much as you can, because otherwise it can actually bring you its lots of problems. Let's go to the point number 3. The other thing that you ought not to share as far as the money is concerned and is considered as a secret is, by the way, hey, quitting your job. Okay, quitting your job. I've ever been in a situation whereby you feel like, hey, guess what? I think it's the time now I quit my job and I start my own investment. I know this one kind of connects with the other one. In most cases, when people are quitting their job, they want to start their own investment. And there you are hanging around with your friends or your acquaintances or whoever guys whom you actually work with, and you're telling them, hey, you know what, guys, hey, I just want to quit my job. I want to go out there, start my own business because I feel like, hey, it's my time. This is my calling. I just have the revelation. I just want to do. Never do that. Never ever do that. This is what I always advise people. Don't quit and start. Start while working, then once it stands on its own, then quit. So by the time you're telling them you're quitting your job, they think like, hey, you want to go out and start a business. They realize you've already started. I repeat my point. First of all, don't share your next in investment, okay? So if you don't share, then it means you're going to start it behind people's back. You get my point? And then when it comes to quitting your job, don't tell them, oh, I'm quitting my job because I want to do this. No, it's good to say, okay, I'm quitting my job. Okay. And by the way, you don't have to tell like everybody who meet along the way, along that queue, the lunch queue and lunch break and what have you, telling everybody, hey, I'm quitting this time around. No. Okay, just if it is possible, just share with one person and rest assured that everyone will know the information once you do exactly that. So by the time you're quitting, you've already started the job, and actually you are just switching roles. You're moving from being employed to employing yourself. The mistake that people do most cases when it comes to this is they quit, and then they now start looking for the financial advisors and what have you. Hey, guess what? Yesterday I quit my job, or last week I quitted my job, and I want to do this and this and this. What is your view? And ask them, okay, fine, you want to get into the ice cream business. Do you know anything to do with the ice cream? No, I just saw a friend of mine who is doing the thing and actually doing good in terms of the business. You're like, okay, fine, there's no problem with that. Okay, everything that we usually see, we must have seen them somewhere, or maybe we invented them. But the question is this: how much do you know about the ice cream business? Well, I really even don't know even some distributors. Now, come on, you're doing a mistake. See, before you even decide to quit a job and start a certain investment, whichever the case, you ought to have all the information about that specific enterprise that you want to start. And this is the mistake that people do, is that you want to quit the job that you hate to start a business that you do not understand. Guess what happens? You not only lose your job, you only lose your money at the same time. So be very careful what you share out there, right? Let's go to point number 4. I don't want to take all the time here because I know you want to watch my next video, right? Okay, good. That's it. Good. The next point. Now, the point number 4. Now, the point number 4 is that never share your savings. Never share your savings or the money that you have. Your savings. You're telling people, hey, guess what? Hey, I really thank God right now. By the way, I did at the starting of this year, 2023. Depends on when you're watching this video. I did, I did form a certain group of savings whereby we give morale to each other in savings and what have you. And the guys, we were looking forward on how we can manage to save 66,700 using a very simple formula. By the way, God willing, at the end of this year, I'm going to share that formula again with you. And a lot of guys actually from my group have actually telling me, hey, Joseph, guess what? What next? Yeah, I just hit the target. I got the money. So what do I do? And all those kind of things. So the point is, at all the time, I repeat, at all the time, make sure that at least you do not share the amount of money that you're saving. Have you ever seen some people saying, hey, by the way, I have a testimony of a certain client who called me and told me, hey, guess what, Joseph, my name is And he told me, hey, I shared my sort of a move with my mom and told me, hey, guess what, Pam? By the first time, I've made my 100,000 Kenyan shillings. Now, what should I do? Guess what the mom told me? Hey, right now, son, I'm really struggling to pay school fees of your brother and what have you. If you can really lend me like 20,000, be sure that I'll lend you, I'll give you back. And sometimes I don't even understand where some kind of parents come from. Instead of your son telling you I have 100,000, be like, wow, that's amazing. Hey, guess what? You can do this and this and that. And you follow up to make sure that they don't miss along the way. You're there asking them for the money that they have saved and all those kind of things. It's good to make sure sometimes hold these things to yourself. Don't ever tell anybody you got the money. Just hold it to yourself. Hold it, even if it means holding long enough until you get that specific key. If you have to share, I have to underline that. If you have to, even if it means holding back that idea as longest time as you can to make sure that you do not just burst out there and make some money. By the way, last time I was watching Dave Ramsey's show, quite an amazing individual, and I realized there was a certain guy, a very young guy, by the way. I think he was making some money behind the mom's back. He was doing the affiliate marketing, and the guy called the Dave Ramsey asking, what can I do? Should I disclose the money to my parents because I'm way young and I'm wondering now, will the parents understand me and those kind of things? That was quite interesting on the Dave Ramsey's shows. It's quite interesting. So it's good to tell you, hey, if you have to share, you rather hold it as long as you can until you get that individual whom you can burst out and tell the thing. Because, hey, people are out there, they're ready to mess you bigly. Okay? Let's go to the point number 5. The point number 5 is none other but never share how much you own as a debt. Your debts, and stroke your loans and what have you. Saying, hey, you know what, guys, you're telling everybody along the way, hey, guess what, I'm actually, I don't even know what I can do. I got some 2 million loans. I don't know. These guys, they're about to show up on my doorsteps and actually go there and do all those kind of things. I don't know, what can I do? See, when you open up yourself, when you open up yourself out there, it's like, you don't really do that. People usually can take advantage of that. And by the way, can you imagine this? When people understand that you're really desperate to a point whereby you got some auctioneers behind your back, they're about to come and auction everything. People tell you, hey, instead of this thing being auctioned, hey, can you send me at this time of price? At this, because you're desperate, you're desperate, you have the depressions and all those kind of things. People can take advantage of you. Sometimes it's good to hold back. And if you really have to talk, we have financed institutions. We have people who are called financial advisors. Get their numbers, talk to them. Somebody like me, somebody like somebody else. Maybe you don't feel comfortable talking to me. You can pick someone else out there. Go talk to them who are legit people who do not have anything attached to you. Talk to them. Talk. I know in Africa, we haven't yet reached to a point whereby we believe like we can pay somebody to tell us things about money. We think like it ought to be shared for free. I don't know why, but I bet with time we'll be able to get ourselves into that situation. Talk to people. Hey, those guys who are in the finance, tell them, hey, guess what, guys? I'm really having this kind of a debt and it's really pressing me up. So what can I do? They'll be able to take you through, tell you, hey, this is the process of getting yourself out of debt. This is how to heal out of it. This is what you're supposed to do. And by the way, you know what they say? Problem shared is halfway solved. That's exactly how we do it. But if you share with anybody who meet along the way, I have debt, I have those, I have all those kind of things, and you might find or you might realize a lot of people are running away from you. So some things is good to hold back to yourself. But if you have to share, then share with the appropriate and right people. The sixth one is actually what to buy next. Okay, what you want to buy next. You want to buy next. Okay. People say, hey, I want to buy this type of things and everything. I know this one kind of relates with what you want to invest. So never share what you want to buy next. Probably people are full of jealousy in this world that you're living in, and you might find some people actually even misdirecting you. By the way, if you're asking this information in terms of what you want to buy next in the name of, hey, you want to get some information from them, you can get yourself into lots of problems. So be very careful whom you ask this information, because you might be misdirected along the way. So be very careful with relation to that. Okay, now the seventh one, but not the least, is actually your personal budget. Never share your personal budget. Say you're telling everybody along the way, hey, guess what? I usually make like 100,000, but guess what? Out of the 100,000, I can survive with 25,000. 75,000 is actually investable to me. People are jealousy. People will be out there and telling you, hey, guess what? You're really struggling your family. You are not supposed to be living that kind of a lifestyle. Why would you be making 100,000 and yet you're out there surviving on 25,000? I think you are full. I think you have so much minimalist. I think you are stingy. I think you are whatever. Just tell them nothing about your budget. Just be yourself. Remember one thing, one day you'll come, or one day will come when you realize not even people even cared about who you are, how you do your things. Just go ahead and do your things. That's a reality. All right. So these are the 7 things that you ought not to share out there. And once you share them, be very choosy whom you're sharing this information to, because these are the areas where people can manipulate. And this is my thing that I want to leave you with. That what they do not know, they always talk about it. But that's what they know, they attack it. So keep it a secret. Be a mysterious person. Let nobody understand you. And if it is possible, hold everything to your chest. And if you have to share, pick that individual who you know they are very stable. And there's a video that I did share with you. Check it out. I said, if someone has ever shared some secrets to you and you shared it out, it's not a good thing. Anyway, hey guys, don't forget my number is always on the description of this specific box or other video. Make sure that you pick it up and give me a call or text me on WhatsApp. It's my WhatsApp number. I offer those services at a personal level. Obviously at a cup of coffee's price. And again, don't forget, I got myself some booklets about investments, savings and all those kind of things, financial management. So if you want to get a copy, it's only 280 Kenyan shillings. For those guys who was watching from diaspora or other East African countries, or maybe the Africa at large or the world at large. All right. So see you in the next one. And don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Tell me what you think. Just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. See ya.